Hi, I'm Liz Schrump for the Wisconsin Technology Council, here with WisBusiness.com, the show. Just ahead, Tom Still reviews recent developments in Wisconsin's early-stage investment industry. And Rose Oswald Poels of the Wisconsin Bankers Association talks about new mortgage lending rules that could affect borrowers and the home building industry. And now, here's the WisBusiness.com stock report for mid-January. Rising, the Port of Green Bay. The port ended the 2013 shipping season by beating its goal of 2 million metric tons of cargo, reporting 2.2 million metric tons of exports and imports. That's up 16% from 2012 and the highest tonnage since 2007. Shipments of salt, coal, and limestone led the way. And falling, renewable energy efforts. Midwest energy experts who attended a recent Madison conference concluded Wisconsin is likely missing the boat when it comes to renewable energy business. Minnesota, Iowa, Michigan, and Illinois are forging ahead with wind, solar, and biodigester projects, they said. One Wisconsin solar installer said his company has 212 projects in the pipeline, but only one in Wisconsin. And now, here's Tom Still with his Inside Wisconsin commentary.
The state of Wisconsin's selection of a manager for a new fund of funds that will invest in young companies is the latest sign of life in the state's early-stage investment sector. The State Department of Administration and the State of Wisconsin Investment Board capped a nationwide search by picking Sun Mountain Keganza, a partnership involving two successful firms, to manage the $25 million fund. Over time, the state investment is expected to attract twice that in private dollars, all of which will be put into young Wisconsin companies. That's not the only good news of late for Wisconsin's early-stage companies. Some examples. The Wisconsin Alumni Research Foundation and SWIB are edging closer to selecting a manager for their separate $30 million fund. Venture Investors in Madison has begun investing from its latest $80 million fund. Bright Star Foundation in Milwaukee has received the go-ahead to operate its $7 million fund as a nonprofit entity. More major state companies, such as American Family Insurance in Madison, are investing in young companies for reasons often tied to their own core businesses, but sometimes not. Investors from outside Wisconsin are making their presence known through involvement in accelerators, startup events, and more, not to mention direct investments in young state companies. At the Wisconsin Early Stage Symposium in November, investors from Texas, New York, and California were among those kicking tires on new companies. At a recent Wisconsin Innovation Network meeting in Wauwatosa, 3 investors said they're relatively bullish on Wisconsin's startup scene right now and look forward to examining more possible investments. That group included Milwaukee County Executive Chris Abele, who has put $10 million of his own money into a fund that will focus predominantly on Wisconsin companies. There are no guarantees that 2014 will lead to more early-stage deals, because that will depend largely on the quality of the companies pitching to investors. But if early signs hold true, it's possible 2014 in Wisconsin may go down as the year of the investor.
Thanks, Tom. I'll be right back with Rose Oswald Poels of the Wisconsin Bankers Association.
White Hirschbeck Dudek represents companies at all stages of development and in a wide range of industries to navigate the legal challenges of regional, national, and global growth. At WHD, every stage takes center stage.
I'm back with Rose Oswald Poels, CEO of the Wisconsin Bankers Association. Welcome, Rose.
Thank you for having me.
At your annual Economic Forecast Luncheon in Madison, the head of the Federal Reserve Bank in Kansas City said she's worried Congress has clamped down too far on community banks. What might new qualified mortgage rules mean to home mortgage lenders and borrowers this year?
Right, well, borrowers will find it more costly to get a mortgage loan. They may find it takes more time to get a mortgage loan, and in some cases they may not even qualify because of the wide variety of rules that go into effect that are really changing today's mortgage lending landscape. What the government is essentially doing is dictating to banks the kinds of mortgage loans they can offer and the kind of underwriting they must do, so that going forward only the safe loans fit under the qualified mortgage loan category and all other loans fall outside of that. Now, it doesn't mean that banks today won't make all kinds of loans. It does mean, though, that those that fall outside of the safe category will subject the bank to greater regulatory scrutiny and greater litigation risk going forward.
Under the new rules, you indicated some consumers may find it harder to get a loan. Who might fall into that category?
Anyone who really gets their income from self-employment, whether it could be a farmers, self-employed business people, or even heavily sales commission people will find it takes much harder for them to get a loan. One of the criteria is that the borrower must have lower than a 43% debt to income ratio. And so those types of individuals have income that is just harder to verify. So they're going to find it more difficult to get a loan going forward.
And what is the Wisconsin Bankers Association and others like it doing to help change the rules?
We've been very proactive over the last several years as we've seen these headwinds coming against the banking industry and consumers, and working with both our federal congressional delegation and our regulatory agencies to try and explain the very personal nature that Wisconsin bankers have with their mortgage borrowers. We really understand who our consumer is. We know what their background is. Oftentimes we might even know what their family history is. And so that type of subjective criteria needs to be able to stay in the kind of underwriting that our bankers do. So we're going to keep up our advocacy efforts and try to scale back some of these rules that are really negatively hurting consumers.
Thanks, Rose, and thank you for watching this edition of WisBusiness.com, the show. The show is produced by WisBusiness.com and the Wisconsin Technology Council, and sponsored by White Hirschbeck Dudek, MG&E, and UW Milwaukee. Visit our websites to read and learn more. I'm Liz Schrum of Talent But Executive Search. See you next time.